All right, everybody, welcome to this week's installment of Purveyors of Health. We've got a very special guest for you, just like we do every week, but this week might be one of the most special ones we've had to date. So I'm very grateful to welcome our friend, Cody Crawford, also known as the Wild Tree Man. He's been planting trees all over Canada, all over the world, and he has a Guinness record for tree planting. Lots of other stuff he's going to talk about, but I just want to welcome you, Cody. Thanks for coming on today, man, on short notice too. Thank you, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys, and thanks so much for inviting me on here. It's a great honor. It's a privilege to just keep connecting and growing this tribe together. So thank you.
All right. Well, thanks to Mallory too for booking these events and helping design the posters and getting everything together. Thanks everybody for doing what they do. So Cody, let's just get right into it, man. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your journey. We want to know, tell it like it is, man. What led you here? And also congratulations on all your success too, man.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, thank you. And thanks, Mallory, for making a dope poster. That was great.
You're so welcome, Cody. It's been such a pleasure just actually getting to speak with you one-on-one. And I've already told you how excited I am to hear the raw, real version of what it is that you have been through that got you to here now. So
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, let's start from the beginning, right? I was I grew up in a womb, and yeah, for most of my first couple months of my life, and then I entered the world through my mother, and yeah, at a young age, I was a statistic. The doctors told my parents, my mom, to abandon me. I was a problem child, ADHD, bipolar, you name it. Was heavily medicated as the age of 2. Um, Through my adolescent years, I'm from Canada, Ontario. That's up north. If you guys don't know where that is, kind of the east side of Canada. It's cold, and yeah, grew up. Was in and out of temporary group homes as a young child, and then around age 8, I was beaten as a kid from my mother, and I was taken away from the government and got put into group homes and foster homes and special schools. And I'm so grateful for it because it made me the person I am today. The struggle, made me who I am. And so looking back at it now with the mindset that I do now, I'm so grateful for it. But there's probably a lot of people that are in the shit right now, and they can't see that. And I personally couldn't see it when I was in it. So just like, if you are going through that, there's always a brighter side, brighter future, and the world is full of possibilities and endless opportunities. So never give up on that. So yeah, as a young kid, grew up homes and foster homes, struggled in school, paying attention, was really good at gym class, like solid. Gym class was like my jam, anything physical. And I actually never missed school because it was like kind of my getaway from the group homes and foster homes, and kind of like the atmosphere and the environment that I was outside of school wasn't very healthy. So never missed a class, never took any spares, never skipped anything. Graduated everything early. Actually, I graduated a semester early, um, which was surprising because I wasn't very good at school, but I showed up. So apparently that's all you needed to do. And yeah, all through high school, battle with depression. I remember maybe grade 9, drinking windshield fluid until maybe grade 8. Yeah, I can't remember, but drinking windshield fluid until I went blind, jumping out of a 3-story window, trying to kill myself, still have scars on my arms. So the depression was real, never feeling that love, feeling abandoned my whole life, never feeling love from my mother. As a young kid, always like looking for that in other women, role models, people that worked at the group home. And yeah, the struggle continued into high school. Age 16, I decided to quit all my medication, cold turkey. All my doctors, moms, parents, they all like said it was a bad idea. And I set on a mission and I did 60 days of Bikram yoga straight every day. And I just sweat all that toxin out. I lost a ton of weight. I got really fat as a kid because of the medication. Eating habits were bad. Um, my whole personality changed, trying to limit my activity, my ability to just be very vocal. It was, yeah, it just wasn't me, heavily medicated. I believe modern medicine has its place, but I don't think it is with children and medication. I think that a good diet, love, and exercise goes a hell of a lot further than some Ritalin. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what my mission is now, is just sharing that, sharing the struggle. If I can be vulnerable and share my story, I just hope that it can enlighten someone else and show someone else that there's hope. So yeah, high school, did the Bikram yoga for 2 months straight, ended up volunteering at the yoga studio, and that became part of my life. Um, I went through all sorts of phases in high school. I was like a farmer kid, redneck. And then in high school, I went into a really gangster kind of aura. When I transferred schools, grade 9, 10, 11, people didn't even know my name. They just called me Eminem. I had like bleach blonde hair, like gangster clothes. And literally people like, I still have people that still call me Eminem from high school. Um, and then tripping to high school, I got accepted into an environmental leadership program where we went hiking, camping, and canoeing for a whole semester. And that really opened my eyes to the outdoors. I was always into sports. I played 6 years of rugby, 4 years of football. Like I was really active in sports. Um, and that was a way for me to get my aggression out in a healthy way as well. Being a young child going through that, I did have a lot of aggressive tendencies, just to myself, to other people, and just seeing my upbringing. I remember seeing my father break my mom's nose over a car, growing up, like a lot of violent, physical violence in my family, just not towards me, but to each other. And that bled into my own life, be it with friends, family, and even as a young child, like a young teenager in my relationships. I'm not proud, but I definitely had, two of my first relationships were definitely physical with women. And it was just a product of my upbringing, what I thought was right and wrong, and how I expressed myself and dealt with it. So it's really interesting to see that growth and taking those things and navigating the world in a healthier way, because as we surround ourselves with people that we want to be with, like this crew, we start evolving as humans, and we realize what's right and wrong. Like children and animals, there's no such thing as a bad child, there's not a bad dog, it's just bad parenting, bad upbringing, and not having those role models to teach you, right? Because monkey see, monkey do. So yeah, as a young kid, high school, graduated early, and at 17, needed to get out of Ontario. And so I took a job in Whistler, Canada. At 17, I moved to Whistler by myself and started working at a ski hill, which was awesome. I love skiing. It was getting out, traveling. I always had this hunger to travel and desire to search out. And so that was my first trip, 17, moved to Whistler, where I started getting into, or being introduced to, what's the word I'm looking for? Recreational drugs. I was really against drugs in high school. It was funny just because I saw what it did: alcohol, weed, definitely cocaine or anything like that. I was totally against it. Then I went to Whistler at 17, and it was just like full on. I was living with these 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds from Australia. And so I got into recreational drugs, and then I started having sex. And that was a huge thing for me. That took me 15 years to work through, because I literally have had sex with hundreds of women to fill that void of not feeling loved. fill that void of not being accepted. And it was the only way I personally knew how to feel love and accepted and wanted. And then that was through another woman. And obviously everything comes back to our childhood. Not having that as a child, I was seeking it out in unhealthy ways, be it sex or drugs, and kind of getting out of my mind and getting into another dimension of not worrying about life. And so for 5 years, I lived in Whistler, skiing, partying, doing all the things. Again, I'm so grateful that I had that journey at such a young age, 17, 18, 19, 20, without any parenting, without any kind of people telling me what to do. Because I feel like I really got it out of my system, because like my name says, wild tree man, I am a fucking wild guy. I actually went back to Ontario a couple of years ago, and my friend introduced me to his wedding as the most interesting man he knows. And I definitely feel I lived that because of my willingness not to adapt to normal society, get a job, go to school, go to college, have kids. I've been able to question everything in life, growing up in the streets in a group home, never been able to trust anyone. So I've always questioned everything. I always looked at things from a different point of view. And so again, I'm so grateful for the struggle that I had, because it's enabled me to, continue to travel the world and look at things differently. I don't see it that way sometimes as a normal person. So from Whistler, did some partying. And then I did a 3-month course. I left Whistler for a couple months, 19, did a 3-month course through Canada, United States, and Mexico on how to teach whitewater rafting, kayaking, and first aid. So for 3 months, I traveled down the coast of North America over to Mexico and learning all these skills. It was awesome because I love adrenaline, and some of you folks might have something that you might do that when you're in that zone, nothing else can cross your mind. Like when you're kayaking and you're in a class 5 rapid, or you're skiing, or you're doing something that needs your whole mind's focus because safety is really important, everything else goes away. And I really felt like I was able to get away from whole life and in that. And I'm a bit of a adrenaline junkie. So jumping off 60-foot waterfalls in a plastic boat was just kind of my thing. And so, yeah, I lived in Mexico for a bit teaching. Then I came back, went to Whistler, did the whole ski bum. I was always been an entrepreneur. So I was hustling medicine, trying to make a living. I was good with talking with people. I wasn't so good at computer skills or office skills, and so I was leaning in on what I was good at, was just being open and talking to people, networking. And with my certificate, my 80-hour wilderness first responder, I was able to do all sorts of jobs. So I did safety kayaking, I did horseback guiding, I did trapeze, zip lining, snowshoe guiding, snowmobile guiding, dog sledding, anything in the outdoors that I was able to teach or instruct, because I had this passion of being outside, and I had this passion to make people smile, be happy. And I think that's because I spent so many years unhappy, and my addictiveness of being with women and feeling wanted and needed, that it bled into my personality of wanting to brighten up a room, wanting to make people happy. Because if I felt people happy, then subconsciously I felt that I was worthy and they would want me around. Because deep down in my own subconscious, I didn't love myself. So I feel now, looking back at it, if I can convince enough people to love me, maybe I'll love myself. And that was kind of the mind frame that I had. And so from Whistler, I did rafting, kept doing that and the outdoor stuff. And where did I go after that? Then I did a wolfing program in Nelson, where I'm now, working on organic farm, growing vegetables and helping out. And then I got to go to a festival called Shambhala. And that was like my first big music festival. And I was like, holy crap, what is this? I want more of it. 3 days of like the best DJs in the world, 5 stages, and just like super fun. And my friends, he was like, well, there's this another thing going on in 2 weeks. I'm like, is it like that? He's like, yeah, it's similar. He's like, great, let's go. He's like, well, you should read this book. It's called Burning Man, and you should read the survival guide. And I'm like, okay, sure. I grew up in group homes and foster homes. I lived on the street. I mean, I could survive anywhere. So I read the survival guide, never looked at any pictures or anything about Burning Man. I just read how to survive in the desert. So I had my water and my rebar and my tent, that I had at Shambhala. I went down to the desert, and my whole life exploded in that moment. And despite what everyone's belief is about Burning Man, I just truly believe, someone that's been to 33 different countries and have went to the depths of many dark holes and higher mountains, I think Burning Man is something that everyone needs to experience. It's like getting married or falling in love, or I always imagine is like, remember that present that you spent so much time and energy on for your loved one, your brother, your sister, your mom, and you're sitting there at Christmas and you're watching them open it. That's the energy of Burning Man every day. That feeling you get when you see your loved one opening a gift that you spent so much time. So went to Burning Man, got there in the middle of the night, set up camp, and the first bike ride, the sun was coming up, and there was all these art cars and music, and it was just like, what is this place? And I'll remember this art car was driving along, and it had yellow and orange streamers on it, and they were just playing Phil Collins' Show Me Your True Colors. And I remember just crying. I'll never forget that moment of just, wow, this is acceptance, this is love. And I was hooked. I've been going every year since 2008. And yeah, I think it's the best place on earth. 1 year after Burning Man, we wanted to go to Mexico for 2 weeks. So I had someone babysit my dog. My mom was babysitting my dog. And I said, Mom, I'm going to go down to Mexico. I'll be back in 2 weeks. So we're down in Mexico, 2 weeks. And I was like, Mom, I want to go to Guatemala. I'm just going to go there for a couple of weeks. I want to check it out. 3 weeks later, Mom, I want to go check out Honduras. I want to go diving. And so I got there for a week, and then I'm never one to really do schooling, like I said, but I'm always down to pay for certificates on jobs like I think that I will like. So I ended up doing my dive master in Honduras. So studying all the gases and depths and everything, that the safety and the rescue courses. So I spent a month there. And I'll never forget, it was like, my mom's like, are you coming home? And I'm like, well, school's almost done. I'm still gonna, finish this. And then I went down to Nicaragua, and I ended up spending another 4 weeks surfing and taking a surf course and teaching how to surf. And I fell in love with surfing. And, a month later, I was in Costa Rica. Anyway, 6 months later, I'm coming back to Canada after a 2-week vacation in Mexico. And that's just my whole life. It's just very spontaneous. And why I think that people call me the wild tree man, because I planted just under 4 million trees in my life, and because I'm just wild and crazy. So I came back during the season. So like I said, I've been tree planting for 13 years. After tree planting, after rafting around about 20 years old, I realized that as much as I love being outside and teaching and being an instructor, I also had this addictive personality, or this issue around money, because I never could do anything in life without money. I had no one to depend on. There's no one I could ever call if I was in trouble. And so during that struggle, I ruined relationships, I ruined jobs, because money was the most important thing in my life. I jeopardized relationships, jobs, my health for money in my bank account. And so when I realized I wasn't getting it ahead, I started tree planting. And so I would tree plant for 6 months, and then I would go and I go travel the world for 6 months. And so I did that for 13 years. Um, Central America was that was my first trip. And everyone that knew me said I came back that trip a whole new man. And that's one thing that really scares me of what's going on right now with these kids coming out of high school is they're not able to take that opportunity to travel. And I think education or traveling is the best education anyone can do. Just that time to unload and rewind and recharge and get new downloads, taste new food, smell new smells, and meet totally different places. 'Cause I'll tell you, I've traveled the world, and the things that you think are totally wrong or unacceptable, you go to a country and you can see, wow, this actually works. And so you're a product of your upbringing, just like I was growing up with the violence, domestic violence, alcohol and drugs. You're brainwashed or you're educated in this hamster wheel of life. And so traveling to another country, you see there's a whole different way to live. So whatever you guys are doing, I hope you guys get to take a moment to take some time to travel, because it saved my life. I definitely think I would be either in jail or dead if it wasn't for the opportunity in my heart, or the want in my heart and the opportunity for me to just be able to travel. So Central America, tree planting, 13 years. I went to Morocco to teach surfing, been all over Europe to plant trees. In Scotland and England, I've planted maybe about 1.5 million trees in the Lake District, in Carlisle and Penrith. Ireland, Europe is beautiful. I did 2 weeks around the Atlantic Seaway, rented a car for $25 for 2 weeks. I just drove around the whole island. Definitely worth checking out. People over in Ireland are beautiful. Went to Portugal, did some surfing in Spain and Portugal. Did Southeast Europe. Best food in the world is Thailand. If you're looking for good food, definitely recommend over there. But all this traveling the world and doing all this adventure stuff and going to Cambodia and doing all the things like the 7 wonders of the world. And I still had this emptiness, this meaningless feeling of just, I was traveling. I always said I was traveling to find love, and I was traveling to find meaning. And there was no amount of countries that I could go to, and there's no amount of women that I could sleep with that was ever going to fill that void. So I started getting into the self-discipline of spirituality, really getting into my meditation. I found myself, I was actually going to get married to this girl last year, and we broke up, but I was living in LA for the last 3 years in the wintertime. And that's when I got into some men work with my buddy Raw and Troy Casey. And I was helping facilitate that. And that really opened up a lot of things, stepping into that opportunity to teach was really, I really welcomed it. It felt good to me to be able to share my story, share my struggle, because every single one on this call has a story that is so powerful that could change someone's life. And so my main objective is to teach in the men's circle, teach men to honor their feminine side while honoring their masculine side. I believe, I'm sure you've heard the saying, behind every great man's a great woman. I firmly believe that's a man that has been able to honor his feminine side. Just like, I'm sure a lot of you women on this call have a lot of women role models that probably have honored their masculine side. That assertive, that business style, that here I am, here I'm roar, without any judgment of what other men will think. And I think it's important that we all kind of take that and have a good balance, or at least that's what's important to me. So in between traveling the world and looking down all the wrong paths, I started getting into some medicine work, ayahuasca, iboga, kambo, ibufa, all these things. But again, always looking for the easy answer, always looking for the magic cure. And that's what's so frustrating, because for me, like, I just got out of the iboga ceremony last weekend. Even going to the ceremony, I was like, this is pointless because I just have to do the work. And if you're anything like me, growing up in North America, we want the easy way. We want the magic pill. We want the app. We want the food delivered. We just want the easy way. And I found myself going into these ceremonies to try to find the easy way, when every single vision, every single image I have is just do the work. So I found myself in Peru last year. I was on a 1-month dieta, and I'm drinking 50 or 60 times, and I've never had a breakthrough. I've never had a vision, never had a fractal, nothing. And I have a huge block in my heart and my mind. But I had one vision, and that was that I needed to put my health first, that health was wealth, and then I needed to start taking care of it. And she literally said that Purium, I kid you not, was that vehicle for me. And that was a big thing for me, because I've been using the products for 5 years off and on, but I was cheap. I thought I still struggle with that. Money was more important. I'd rather have money for traveling. I'd rather have money for new skis or a new surfboard, or to go to Burning Man, or these things that I thought were important. And so from the jungle, I called my buddy Raw and I signed up. And I can honestly say, in the last year and a half, my whole life has transformed. And and I thank it, because we don't need pharmaceutical drugs. We don't need some magic brew. We need to clean up our gut biome. We need to get true nutrition into our body. And if there's any, thing I can share with people, coming from someone that's battled depression, is exactly that. Spend the time. If you don't have time to meditate, you don't have time to exercise, okay, but who doesn't have time to take a pill? As North America, we love taking pills. So let's get a healthy pill in us and really start cleaning that up. So in the last year and a half, I've been able to grow my business. I achieved the rank of diamond last month, but it wasn't easy. I had to build my team up 3 times, because I kept leaning into what was comfortable. I do my business, and then I go back tree planting, which, I was in the woods for 6 months, making lots of money, but I didn't have social or internet or anything like this. So coming back, then I got distracted opening up an integration center, because I wanted to leave a legacy, but my partnership wasn't working out. And so for the 3rd time, I just rebuilt the business, and stepping into that leadership role once again, just connected with my heart of being of service. And I have a feeling, if you go around and knock on all the richest people doors, you go in the richest neighborhood you have and knock and ask what you do, I guarantee you 9 out of 10 people say their jobs of being of service. They have some sort of job of being of service. And so that's my vision right now, continuing to do the work, being vulnerable, sharing, and just letting people know that there's so much opportunity out there. If I can come from living on the streets, living in hotels, living in group homes and foster homes, and not being able to communicate with myself or my business partners or my relationships, to coming and having meaningful relationships where I can be vulnerable and share and get away from those limited beliefs that I'm not smart enough, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not going to be loved. And so can you. You are as powerful as you believe you can be. So look in that mirror and fucking tell yourself how awesome you are, because you are. And no matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter if you're broke, you've been beaten, you've been raped, you're abandoned. If you're looking in that mirror, you're fucking still here. And there's nothing that's happened to you that you haven't been able to overcome. Not one thing. So don't sell yourself short. There's a reason why you're still here. When there's thousands of people that haven't made the cut, and there's thousands of people that just die randomly because they got hit by a piano falling out of the sky, you're fucking still here. So use that time wisely, because you have the opportunity to change your legacy. And we see it time and time again. So if I could leave you one thing, it's that. Don't forget how powerful you are.
Thanks, brother. That's deep. That's meaningful. Thank you, Cody. What a story. Wow.
Cody, oh my gosh. Thank you for continuing to nourish your soul and your heart, and for finding your smile and like shining that on all the people that you cross paths with. You are so energetic. I was getting like full visceral reaction to the things that you were saying. And that's really profound to know that, you know, I know we only scratch the surface of what it is that you've truly been through. And it's a lot, and it's inspirational because, like you said, we all have a story. We've all been through things, but we're here right now. So that means that we have overcome to some degree. And then you can continue to do better and to work on yourself, and then use whatever we've been through to help someone else. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that you're here today. I'm so happy that we have crossed paths in the capacity we have, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you further.
Me too. Thank you. Thanks for holding space for us. You know, you guys are always bringing on awesome people. So it was a pleasure and an honor.
I'll tell you what, Cody, like getting into this, you know, Purium, superfood business, network marketing, all of this stuff. It's like, there's a real beauty to it all, because we're doing things that are, you know, helping people get healthy, and we're building community. But there's also a dark side to this sometimes too, where there's a little bit of cutthroatness. There's like competition. There's like ego. There's all this other stuff. But man, ever since I've met you, you've always been just a positive person. I love your sense of humor. I love that you just like take life, you know, as it comes. And you're just a real person that's willing to be vulnerable, but at the same time, not taking anything too seriously. So I fucking love you, brother. I really appreciate you so much, man. Thank you for being you, bro. You're a good friend, and you're a good human being as far as I can see.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. And, you know, just to touch on that ego and cutthroat, it's like, yeah, it can be tough sometimes in the business, but at the end of the day, we're not selling penny stocks. We're not selling used cars. We're selling a mission to help change the world and save the world. And when I'm down and out, when I get told to fuck off 50 times a day, and then I'm wasting my time, and this is a pyramid scheme, I'm like, well, at least I'm doing something good, baby, and I'm feeling good. So if that's a pyramid scheme, sign me up, baby. All my friends are getting healthy and wealthy. Well, shit, pyramid me up, baby. Yeah. But yeah, you know, you got to remind yourself, you know, I'll tell you, I've had $6,000 paychecks from working on the oil rigs. I made 30 grand in a weekend selling drugs at a festival. But it didn't give me meaning. I'll tell you what fucking gave me meaning was I talked to a woman who's lost her job 8 months ago, and now she's making more money than before, and she's building a better relationship with her ex-husband, and she lost 50 pounds, and she's crying to me, thanking me. That's payment. You know, any foursomes or fivesomes with 4 or 5 women, they're great, they're fun. But I'll tell you, there's been moments where I've been in that situation and I'm thinking about something else. So finding something that you love and being of a service is going to fill your heart. It's going to fill your cup way more than any of those sexual experience, any of those numbers in your bank account. because I've been it. I've done it. I've chased that dragon. Okay. I've chased the money dragon. I've chased the sex dragon. I'm telling you, it's dark and dirty, man. And it doesn't fill your cup for long. So align yourself with something that gives you meaning and just do it and say, fuck the world if they got an issue filling your cup.
Damn right.
It's 444.
444. Oh. That was great. Okay, does anyone have any questions for Cody? Feel free to ask. Just unmute yourself. Now is the time.
Boxers or briefs?
Well, I am a boxer. I did own a boxing gym for a bit and box competitively, but I'm more of a nothing.
It's either nothing or the alligator G-string overalls.
Yeah, alligator G-string Speedos, you name it. I want to make a Purium Speedo.
There you go.
I thought it was an American flag. I thought that was the Troy Casey.
I mean, if someone sends me some swag in a Speedo, I'll rock it. I never turned down a free Speedo.
Hey, Cody, what was your camp at Burning Man?
So for the first couple of years, it was just myself. And then we did Camp Fade Raid for a couple
what?
years where we served
Sorry, I
vodka
missed
and-
that.
We served,
was
it's
it?
called Camp Gatorade. We camped at 4:30
Gatorade.
and G. We served Gatorade and vodka, so you get faded. That was the kind of the thing. And then for 3 years, I helped organize. And then there was Love, which is the orgy dome there. So I camped with them for quite a few years. And then for the last 3 years, I actually run an art support camp now. Called Menage a Plaza, and where we bring art to the playa. And so last year, 2 years ago, we built this 8-foot party cat. You know those Asian cats at the Chinese restaurant with the arms? They go like this? Yeah, so we built a huge version of that with a third eye in their light in the head, and then the arm had a laser, and then the whole stomach got cut out. And throughout the week, we put over 3,000 fortune cookies in it.
Wow. Holy shamboli.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you going this year?
That's the plan. Yeah. Yeah. That's the plan.
Well, that's unofficial because it's not doing
Well,
it. But there's going to be a bunch of people out there, though.
Yeah. Before 1996, we just applied for permits to the BLM. And then after 1996, the BLM, which is the Bureau of Land Management, was like, it's way too much work. You guys need to organize and then ask for a permit. And so after 1996, that's when the org came in effect. And then last year, people just showed up around 5,000 people without permits. And then they said, next year, you have to have permits. And so we've been applying for permits since April. We have an engineer to build the man, but the BLM hasn't given out any permits yet. And they're refusing to let anyone land their planes this year, which is weird. So who knows what's going to happen. But I'd like to go, but I'd also have to get all my eggs in one basket because I am leaving Canada and trying to figure out the best way to do that. I'm going to Brazil. I should go down to LA and grab some stuff, but then I got to figure it all out. But we'll see what happens. Are you going?
I've never been. I don't even know when it is.
Well,
some of our camp is going. Tahoe Twisted and that's the big ship, Christina.
Okay, yeah.
And the Twisted G spot also. They're just going to get together. You know, it's not an official thing because of all the stuff that's going on now, but
totally.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's the best place on earth.
So the whole idea of it is you barter for everything once you're there, right? Or no?
Everything's free.
It's called gifting. Gifting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm learning.
The whole Burning Man
you are.
point is to build a utopia. where you can't buy anything. You buy coffee and ice at center camp. Other than that, everything else is free. You bring
Okay.
whatever you need to survive, and then you bring what you want to gift to the world.
Okay. What would you give to the world if it does unfold for you this year?
What do I gift if I don't go to Burning Man?
No, if you do go, what is your plan? What are you going to gift?
Oh yeah, great question. I haven't thought about it yet. I mean, I usually have a whole tickle trunk full of different things, and I like to play different games throughout the week, so it's all different. You know,
Okay.
before I made tons of stickers. I'll like make grilled cheese in the middle of like sunrise and deep playa. I did like a vitamin floss dental hygienic station where I'd like clean your teeth. I went around and we cleaned like 1,000 people's vaginas because it was dusty. We have like wet naps, and we have like Mr. bottles with mint and lavender and eucalyptus, where you like clean yourself off and give you like a bath. I made necklaces with like a lighter on a string. It could be anything you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
My first year, I actually had a huge necklace of safety pins, and I was gifting safety pins, and it was the most bizarre, at least for me, it was bizarre, because who would have thought safety pins would be accepted like manna from heaven? People were like, oh my gosh, I need this right now. And they would
Hell
go fix
yeah.
something in there. I know, it was awesome. I was like, and it just came to me before I left. I'm like, I've got all these safety pins. I'll just make a huge necklace. It's easy to wear, go everywhere. It was awesome.
We made a huge coupon book one year. There's like that big, but we made tons of little coupons that you'd rip off and give it. It was like, you know, backstage passes to Daft Punk at the trash pens, LSD blotter, but LSD not included, and it was all written down, and just like funny little like free hugs, you know, just like different little coupons that you would give the coupon book to someone else, but then that person could also rip a coupon on and give it off to the next person. So it was a gift that kept giving.
I love that. That's fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, loved hearing your story. I want more. I feel like I can sit around you and listen to stories. I love stories. But other than Burning Man, I've had so many questions. Did you know Spanish before you went down to Mexico and Central America?
My friend, I've probably spent over a year in Spanish speaking countries. I still don't know Spanish. But no, absolutely not. Language is not my forte, but I have been given and been told I have a gift to be able to communicate in many different countries without their language, just in my body and my expressions, and reading people. But no, I can't. I can, you know, order some food and get the bus station and maybe, you know, talk to a girl at a bar, but that's about it.
I was gonna ask you another thing, like other than Burning Man, like where do your like two favorite places you've been to? And also with the whole communication thing, I think that's so cool that you're able to go everywhere without knowing the language. Have you ever been in a place or a situation where it was difficult?
Yeah, Hong Kong, terrible time, and people are really unfriendly there. But that being said, my partner spoke the language, so that was a relief. But I remember saying to myself, if I was here by myself, this would be miserable. We were only there for a week. We went on like a food vacation where we just ate everywhere for a week. Like that was a mission. But Hawaii, one of my favorite places. It's a third world country with first world amenities. Really laid back island life. Really enjoyed it. I'm big into surfing, so I really liked it for that. Morocco, for the people, really welcome you in. I hitchhiked through the whole country, from Marrakesh all the way down south to the Zagoa Desert. Hitchhiked the whole way. I got like 20 camel rides or bike rides and horsebacks, and you name it, I rode it. Slept in a cave for like 4 days with the sheep herders, just like cooking tagine and smoking hash. Then I went all the way over to the Agadir, the coast, and I lived there for 2 months surfing. And the whole way, you couldn't hitchhike anywhere far because every time someone would pick you up, they'd welcome you in their home to their family. So for the people, Morocco, Thailand for the food. You know, I had great food in Thailand. Soup, I definitely recommend that. Where else? I mean, anywhere. What do you like?
I was gonna say though, when you mentioned Hong Kong, I've spent a good bit of time in China, and there were some times when I was in China when I wasn't around like my Chinese friends where I was completely lost. Very scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like with the language, and it's like it's not even like letters.
Yeah. Yeah. It could definitely be intimidating and lonely over time too if you're by yourself. But Peru's good. Peru's good. It's got a lot of good coastline. Yeah. Thailand for the food, Morocco for the people, Hawaii for that laid back, but it's got all your first world amenities.
Okay, where do you want to go? You've never been before.
I'm flying to Brazil. I've never been there, so I'm going to go learn now that I can work online. That's my goal, to do a lot more traveling, especially in the summer, because I've always been in Canada for the summer working. So my goal is to go to Brazil this winter till December. Then I don't know where I'll go. And then I want to buy a sailboat in April and sail the Mediterranean, go over to Egypt. I've never been to Egypt. Greece. Yeah, definitely Greece. Never been. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited because I think I'm going to fall in love, because all my women that I've had long-term relationships have all been like Southeast European women or Chinese. Not too fond of Canadian women. So, so yeah, I'm excited. Greece sounds beautiful. Yeah, there's so many opportunities. It's hard to kind of navigate what the world with traveling will be right now, but Brazil is on the list to do in August, September. Anywhere you recommend?
Well, you've been to China, you've been to Ireland. Those are a couple of my favorite places. Now there's a lot of cool places around the U.S. still. Like I want to check out Maine.
Maine's good. Yeah, I've been
That's
to almost
where I'm from,
I've been
baby.
to almost every state.
That's where I'm from, Maine.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
What does it explain, Cody? Share with the group.
Well, how awesome and laid back, and he doesn't give a fuck.
Cody, if you were going to give us all one piece of advice, life advice, what would it be?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So I would take all your money, your 401k, RSP, tax-free savings, all your money, and I would invest in your health. I would invest in land, silver, and cryptocurrency. Because your future is so important. And investing in those 4 things, you cannot go wrong.
Hey, Cody, why do you say silver and not gold?
Because the
gold's
future,
too pricey right now.
Because gold has no real world solvents. It doesn't do anything. Silver, you can't have a laptop, you can't drive a car, you can't have a cell phone, you can't have technology without silver. And we all know that the future is going to be technology based. So I personally want to invest in something that's going to be used.
Copy that.
We don't need gold. We have Bitcoin now,
Right. On the other side, the tree planting, what was the organization that you worked with, or were you just going solo out with Sproutlings and doing it?
Yeah, great question. So I've different organizations here in Canada. So it's the law. Let's say you have a tendered, so a lease on a mountainside. Let's say you have a couple 100,000 hectares and you cut it down. You legally have to replant it. So the mill will hire companies to replant it. So that's where we came in to reforest. So we've done old growth on Vancouver Island, all over BC, Alberta, Ontario, Newfoundland. I planted coast to coast. I planted a lot in southern Georgia, northern Florida, in the States. That's in Canada, it's more for lumber. for the mills. In the States, my experience, it's for private individuals that owned a lot of the farms, the cotton farms, and they make quails, or they're just harvesting it for timber. So they're private. And in Scotland and England, it's farmers that are planting it to stop erosion. So they don't worry about cutting it down after.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Feel like formal education has nothing on true life experience. You're definitely a representation of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that
Woo woo, woo woo.
yeah, I think education is only there to help the GDP of the world, and it's not actually there to help the individual people. It's to help to keep this hamster wheel, broken wheel going. And I'm so grateful that I had the limited belief that I couldn't go to school, that I couldn't amount to anything, because I'm so better off that I didn't go to school. I've been
The one time when a limiting belief was beneficial.
Yeah, totally. Right. At a young age, when everyone was really, partying and spending all their money, I decided to get into real estate. So I bought my first house when I was 25, then I bought another house when I was 26. And then last year I just bought 2 houses. So I'm so grateful to being out of the norm and putting my money in actual investments instead of school. Like, how many people do you know still owe thousands of dollars to school and they're not even doing their fucking job that they went to school for? How many young girls do you know that are going to school because they want to impress mommy and daddy and doing what mommy and daddy want them to do, and they fucking hate their job, and they're just getting drunk and getting laid on weekends going through the process when they could have been traveling, when they could have been doing something that's going to be more beneficial?
I don't know